Why is Japan seen as one of the most peaceful countries in the world, while China, with such a similar cultural foundation, feels completely different? How did two nations with shared roots take such opposite paths? Both Japan and China were shaped by ancient Asian philosophies, Confucianism, Buddhism, and a deep respect for tradition. But somewhere in history, their paths began to diverge. Japan became known for its quiet order, group harmony, and a low-conflict society. China, on the other hand, emerged as a global power with a strong voice, a firm grip on control, and a very different definition of peace. This isn't about which country is better. It's about understanding how two neighbors with shared beginnings ended up with such different identities. In this video, we'll explore how philosophy, war, leadership, and cultural psychology shape the unique trajectories of these two nations. Let's begin with the one thing they had in common at the start: a shared cultural origin. Section 1. Two nations, one cultural origin? Why do Japan and China, two powerful nations, feel so different today? Isn't it surprising that both were built on such similar cultural roots? Confucianism, Buddhism, ancestral respect. For centuries, these values shaped how people lived, learned, and led in both countries. They shared ideas about family, duty, hierarchy, and inner reflection. And on the surface, their traditions might look almost the same. But something happened. Over time, the two nations grew apart, not just politically, but spiritually and socially. The same soil gave birth to two very different trees. Japan turned inward, seeking harmony in silence. China turned outward, building strength through structure and power. The contrast is striking, isn't it? So the real question is this: if the roots were so similar, how did the flowers bloom so differently? Can a nation truly choose peace? Or does peace come from something deeper, something hidden in how a culture grows? In this section, we'll explore what Japan and China actually had in common at the start, and why that common ground didn't lead to the same kind of society. Think about it: if two seeds are planted in the same soil, but one grows into a quiet bonsai, and the other into a towering pine. Is it really just the soil that matters? Or something more? Section 2. The influence of Confucianism, unity or division. Confucianism played a central role in both Japan and China. It taught loyalty, family hierarchy, and respect for order. But here's the twist: Confucianism didn't land the same way in both places. In China, it became the foundation of government and law. In Japan, it blended quietly into existing traditions. China used Confucian thought to build a system of authority, obeying power, respecting rank, and maintaining national unity were top priorities. In Japan, Confucian ideas were accepted, but not forced. The emphasis was on inner virtue, not external obedience. Harmony mattered more than hierarchy. So what started as a shared philosophy turned into something very different. One became a tool for control. The other became a guideline for balance. This is where the split begins. China institutionalized Confucianism: schools, exams, official posts. It became a machine of structure. Japan personalized it. It became part of daily manners, not legal systems. And here's something to think about. Can the same teaching lead to unity in one country and rigidity in another? Maybe it's not just what a culture learns, but what it chooses to emphasize. Do you teach people to follow or to reflect? Do you demand order or nurture it? Japan leaned toward quiet influence. China leaned toward structural control. And that one choice may have changed everything. Section 3. Japan's culture of harmony versus China's struggle for power. Why did Japan embrace harmony while China pursued strength? It wasn't just philosophy, it was survival. Japan, as an island nation, could afford to look inward. Isolation created a society focused on balance, not expansion. Fewer threats meant more room to prioritize relationships. China, on the other hand, was surrounded by rivals. It was invaded, divided, and forced to defend itself for centuries. Stability came only through strength. This shaped how each nation viewed peace. For Japan, Peace meant harmony within families, schools, and the workplace. Avoiding conflict was seen as a virtue. Even today, people often say, "Let's not make waves." In China, peace meant power. Control, order, and unity were the tools to survive a dangerous neighborhood. Without strength, chaos would follow. So while both valued peace, they defined it differently. Japan pursued quiet cooperation. China chose visible strength and authority. And here's the question we must ask. Is peace just the absence of war? Or is it a way of thinking, a national mindset? When harmony becomes a goal, people speak softly. When survival is at stake, people speak loudly. The result? Two nations that started from the same ideals, but chose completely different ways to protect what they cared about. Section 4: How a war shaped national psyches differently. What happens to a nation's heart after war? The answer depends on what the war leaves behind. For Japan, World War II ended in surrender, devastation, and silence. Cities burned, lives lost, and a deep sense of regret settled into the national soul. Violence became something to fear, not glorify. That's why post-war Japan rejected militarism. The country embraced pacifism, not as weakness, but as healing. Peace wasn't a strategy, it was a vow. And this choice reshaped Japanese identity. Even today, Japan's self-defense forces are limited. Its people often hesitate to speak forcefully or act confrontational, because the scars of war are remembered not just in history books, but in families. Now look at China. China, too, suffered in war, foreign invasions, civil wars, internal chaos. But when the Communist Party took power, the narrative changed. War became a symbol of pride. Struggle was celebrated. Victory was identity. Instead of stepping away from strength, China stepped into it. Military parades, national unity campaigns, and slogans of power followed. So two nations experienced the same thing: war. But one became quiet, the other became loud. And here's the deeper truth. What war breaks, a country must choose how to rebuild. Japan rebuilt with humility. China rebuilt with momentum. Both had pain, but the direction they walked from it, that's what made all the difference. Section 5: Why Japan turned inward and peaceful. Why did Japan choose quiet over power? Why did it turn inward when so many nations sought influence? After the war, Japan was broken physically, emotionally, spiritually. Rebuilding didn't just mean cities. It meant rebuilding trust, pride, and identity. The focus shifted from winning to enduring, from conquering the world to caring for community. A new mindset emerged. Strength isn't in shouting, it's in staying calm. Honor isn't in status, it's in humility. Leadership isn't about control, it's about balance. In post-war Japan, silence became strength. The less you disturbed others, the more you were respected. Self-restraint became a virtue. And in daily life, this attitude showed everywhere. In trains that run on time. In people bowing instead of yelling. In cleaning up after yourself even in public. None of this was forced. It became cultural reflex, not state control. This is key. Japan's peace didn't come from fear. It came from a deep national choice. A decision to avoid shame, not seek glory. To protect harmony, not impose will. Of course, not everything is perfect. But compared to many nations, Japan's calm isn't luck. It's a product of history, loss, and deliberate effort. Peace wasn't given to Japan. It was created. And that choice to turn inward, to build peace from the inside out, is what still defines the country today. Section 6: China's path of nationalism and assertion. Why did China take such a loud path to power? Why nationalism, strength, and public displays of unity? After years of invasion, humiliation, and division, China wasn't just rebuilding a country, it was rebuilding pride. The Communist Party offered something new, a vision of national greatness, a promise that China would never be weak again. From that point on, strength became identity. Military might, economic rise, space exploration each became a symbol, not just of progress, but of redemption. Pride became power, and pride had to be shown. This is why Chinese leadership emphasizes visibility. Massive parades, giant infrastructure, slogans everywhere. The louder the achievement, the stronger the message. But here's a question for you. Can peace truly grow when it depends on constant display? Is calm possible if strength always needs to be proven? Unlike Japan, which turned inward and quiet, China turned outward and loud. One nurtured subtle order, the other demanded unity, and with that came tension. Internally, dissent is discouraged. Stability is prioritized over open debate. There's a constant push to show confidence even if fear exists underneath. So here's the deeper contrast. Japan avoids shame. China seeks pride. Both aim for peace, but walk very different roads. Now ask yourself, which kind of peace would you trust more? The one that speaks softly, or the one that needs to shout? Section 7. Why peace looks different in China. What does peace really mean in China? For many outside the country, peace means silence, calm, or mutual understanding. But in China, peace often means something else: stability. Not everyone agrees, but for millions of Chinese, peace is when society is orderly, the streets are safe, and the nation looks strong on the global stage. In this view, control creates comfort, unity creates trust, and strong leadership prevents chaos. This mindset has roots in Chinese history. Centuries of warlords, invasions, and internal struggles taught one lesson: without structure, everything falls apart. So in modern China, peace is built through systems. Government guidance, media control, surveillance, all are seen as tools for safety. Is it freedom? Not always. But is it peace, as they define it? Yes, because for many Chinese, freedom isn't peace if it leads to disorder. Peace must protect the group, not just the individual. So here's the difference. In Japan, peace is personal. In China, peace is collective. In Japan, peace is quiet. In China, peace is visible. One flows from within. The other is shaped from above. Neither is right or wrong. They are just answers to different fears. Japan fears shame. China fears collapse. So if their peace feels different to you, it's because it is. Section 8. Cultural priorities: shame versus pride. What guides a person's behavior: fear of shame or desire for pride? In Japan, shame is a powerful force. People try not to stand out. They avoid causing trouble. The question is often, how will this affect others? From school to work to family. The goal is to blend in, support the group, and stay humble. Losing face is painful, but being seen as selfish? Even worse. This creates a culture of consideration. People say sorry even when they're not at fault. They hesitate to speak loudly, even when they're right, because being too bold can be seen as rude. Now look at China. In China, pride is central. Achievement is shared. Success is celebrated. And the question is often, how will this reflect on me or my family? Being seen as weak brings shame. But being proud? That's expected. This creates a culture of performance. People speak with confidence, move with purpose, and show strength to represent not just themselves, but their family, their city, or even their country. So while Japan teaches don't disturb, China teaches don't disappoint. Both aim to protect social order, but from opposite angles. One avoids dishonor, the other seeks dignity, and those emotional drivers, shame and pride, shape everything from manners to leadership. So next time you see a cultural difference, ask yourself, are they being quiet because they fear shame, or loud because they carry pride? The answer tells you what truly matters in their world. Section 9 is one path, truly more peaceful. Japan is calm. China is powerful. One speaks softly, the other speaks boldly. But here's the question, is one truly more peaceful than the other? It's easy to assume that silence means peace. But sometimes, silence hides pressure. People may smile on the outside, but carry stress inside. It's also easy to think that confidence equals aggression. But strength doesn't always mean violence. Sometimes, it's a way to keep chaos away. So what really defines peace? Is it the absence of conflict, or the presence of trust? Is it the freedom to speak? Or the ability to listen? Both Japan and China want peace, but they pursue it in opposite ways. Japan avoids conflict through harmony. China controls conflict through strength. One prevents disturbance, the other prevents disorder. Neither approach is perfect. Japan sometimes hides problems to keep appearances. China sometimes silences voices to preserve unity. But both are acting on a deep fear. Japan fears embarrassment. China fears collapse. And both are chasing a vision. A society that works. A people who feel safe. A future that holds together. So instead of asking who's right, maybe we should ask what are they protecting? Because peace isn't just how a country behaves. It's what a country chooses to protect. Section 10. What the world can learn from both. So what can we take away from all this? Japan and China followed different roads. But both were shaped by pain, pressure, and purpose. And both offer something worth learning. From Japan, we learn the power of humility. That peace can grow in quiet spaces. That harmony isn't weakness, it's wisdom. From China, we learn the power of resilience. That pride can rebuild a broken nation. That strength, when directed with care, can protect millions. Neither country is perfect, but each reflects a truth about human nature. Some cultures survive by blending in. Others survive by standing tall. Some avoid shame. Others chase dignity. And both approaches, when taken too far, have limits. So maybe the real wisdom is not in choosing sides, but in knowing when to be soft and when to be strong. The world is loud, so sometimes we need Japan's calm. But the world is also unstable, and sometimes we need China's strength. But here's the key: peace must be chosen, not inherited, not imposed, not performed. It must come from knowing what matters most and having the courage to protect it. So as we look at Japan and China, let's not just compare, let's reflect. What do we value? What kind of peace are we building? Because in the end, the future won't be written by one model alone. It will be shaped by what we choose to learn from both. Cultural habits like this may seem small, but they reflect big ideas. How does your culture compare? Let's share and learn from each other. Leave a comment if you'd like. And please like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching.